Hi, so my name is Devin Corrigan, and I am currently a student here at Valdosta State University in the College of Nursing for my master's in nursing with a focus on education. So, the article I chose to do is entitled Eastern Michigan Sued in Sports Equality Title IX Lawsuit. I chose to do this because I was a competitive gymnast, so sports interests me. Um, the characters in this lawsuit is Eastern Michigan University and two plaintiffs who have sued the school, and we're going to call them Plaintiff MM for her initials and Plaintiff AC. MM is a rising senior and she is a tennis player. Plaintiff AC is an aviation major and a softball player. So basically, the background of this lawsuit is Eastern Michigan has needed to make some cuts for financial stability reasons. They were needing to have more money to improve the school, and the way they did this was through cutting 4 sports programs. They gave the students enough time to find new sports programs as they told them in the spring, early in the spring, that for the next semester in the fall they would not be offering these programs. The programs included 2 women's sports, which was tennis and softball, and 2 men's sports, which was wrestling and swimming/diving. So they cut from both sides of the spectrum, the men and the women's teams. Um, so basically, they're calling this a retro Title IX lawsuit because the equality of women was already gained back in 1920 with the ratification of the 19th Amendment, saying that women had the equal rights and responsibilities as men. So we're kind of just repeating history and going back and making the same mistakes again, essentially. Um, but with this lawsuit, you are seeing this lawsuit is showing female students being upset about the cuts. Um, they had faculty, they had students, team supporters rallying behind these athletes, trying to say that by cutting these sports, the school is actually losing money. For example, losing money from ticket sales, losing money from concession stands, losing money from prospective students that see these sports and see, wow, there's something to do for me on the weekend, there's something for me to go and watch. I would really like to have all those activities at my school. So they're saying that the university is losing money by doing this. Eastern University, on the other hand, is saying, no, we're saving money. We hate to cut these programs, but it's a necessity. We want to put this money towards popular programs that we have that's going to better help the community in the long run. It's going to help our students. We're going to put the money to high demand programs that will help you in the future. And they also want to modernize their facilities, which not only with these enhanced programs and modernized facilities would be great for the current students, but it's something to draw more students in, which is more tuition rates, which it increases the revenue of the school. So I completely understand with that. I feel like I see where the students are upset because they've lost their opportunity to play sports, but in the long run, what is the likelihood of you becoming a professional tennis player, a professional wrestler, a professional diver, or softball player? As much as we would all love to see that happen for them, it's not likely. The likelihood of you becoming a professional in your career field is a lot more likely. The school is wanting to put the funds towards producing professionals rather than producing professional athletes, which is highly unlikely. So the 2 plaintiffs that are suing the school are basically saying that the school is ruining their life plans. It doesn't say how they're ruining their life plans, if they have already been contacted by professional sports or anything like that. It's just ruining their life plans. What they don't tell you when they're ruining their life plans is that the school has offered to fulfill all of these scholarships. Of all the students that were cut from the teams, every single one of them is going to get to continue their education for free. They're doing less work. They're not having to go to practices, and they're not having to go to the gym to do weightlifting or cardio. They're not having to go to games. They're not having to miss classes to go to their games that are out of town. So really, they're benefiting more from not having to play sports. They're getting a free education at this school. So plaintiff MM, her complaint was that she's a rising senior, a tennis player, and she is actually from the Czech Republic. By them cutting her sport, she's going to have to go back to the Czech Republic and get a visa again to play at another school. Her visa was only allowing her to play at Eastern Michigan. So I can see where that would upset her if she did want to continue on with her playing, but in all actuality, she's only going to have one more semester or one more term of playing tennis because their tennis seasons are not long. So she would have to do a whole lot of work for a little bit of reward by being able to play tennis, but she thinks that this has ruined her life. The other plaintiff is Plaintiff AC, and she was the aviation major and the softball player. She has found it difficult to find a school that offers both aviation and the ability for her to play her sport. Aviation is not a high demand program, so it would be hard to find schools. But again, you're getting a free education. You're likely not going to be a professional softball player. There's not many professional softball players out there. The only time we ever really see professional softball players are in the Olympics. But the opportunity for you to become a professional pilot is a lot more likely. So I can see both sides. I'd be upset too if something that I've done my whole life was suddenly taken away from me. But I feel like I'd want the opportunity to enhance my future, become that professional, and learn how to become the professional and be at a school that is enhancing their programs, enhancing their facilities to help me grow in my career, something that could sustain me for the rest of my life. So basically, Title IX is just a law that states that an institution must match proportionally the male and female student athletes to the ratio of overall enrollment. So I've looked at the numbers, and Eastern Michigan basically does do this. Of their enrollment, they actually have more women there than men. They have 60% undergraduate women there, and 44% of those are in sports, while they have 40% undergraduate men, while 56% of those are in sports. So basically, the enrollment is not even, but the sports aspect is pretty close. And it doesn't tell you there's more, the women just don't want to play sports, and that's why the enrollment in sports is low, or there's not as many team spots for the women to have, so that's why it's low. They're not really saying which is which, but I feel like it's pretty even amount for the men and the women percentage-wise, which is fulfilling the Title IX law to have a proportionate amount of athletes to ratio of students. In this lawsuit, or in this cut of teams, 83 students were cut in the 4 teams that were canceled. Interestingly enough, the women are upset about the cuts, but they didn't take the most cuts. 58 males were cut from the team, while only 25 females were cut from sports. What they also don't tell you is that they have currently 10 women's sports and 7 men's sports. So really, they have more opportunities for the women. The women are receiving equal, if not more, rights than the men to sports. There might not be as many places on the teams for the women, but they have the opportunity to play in a sport. Um, with this lawsuit, I side towards the school. As a university, your job is to produce professionals, to help the workforce, to help us in our futures. They're trying to do that. I have researched and found that Eastern Michigan University's graduation rate currently is only 38%. By improving their high demand programs, improving their facilities, it may encourage the students to do better in school. It might bring in more students to the school, which brings in the school more money, which could lead to enhancements in their education. It can bring more instructors to the school. It can just overall bring more improvement than sports can bring to the school. You're trying to produce a professional for the future. You're not trying to produce a professional athlete at a university. So my questions would be, is there more to this story? Were these women given the opportunity to fulfill their scholarships, but on a certain, you have to fulfill these requirements to do this scholarship? Did they have free housing and now they're not going to have free housing? Did they have free food and now they're not going to have the free food? Is this what they're upset about? What are they really upset about? Because they're getting the opportunity of a lifetime to get a free education. The other thing I'd like to look at is, or I'd like the people that were cut to look at is, there are so many different ways that you could lose your opportunity to play sports. You could not have the grades to play sports. You could get injured and not be able to play your sport for the semester. You could suddenly get sick and not be able to play. The team could get cut. There's so many different reasons why an athlete might not be able to play, and they're getting upset because of academic reasons, that the school is trying to improve the academics there. So really, I would just say these students really need to look at why they're there. Are they there for an education, or are they there for sports? And really delve into that and decide what's more important to them. So I think on my side, I do side with the university. I think it was smart of them, with their low graduation rate, to maybe put more money towards the education side of things, to bring in more teachers, to enhance their facilities, because we're trying to build professionals here. We're trying to have professional careers, and that's what's going to do it, is a good education. So that is just a synopsis, in my opinions, about the Eastern Michigan Title IX lawsuit. I hope y'all have some more opinions. Maybe we could speak about them, but that's my synopsis. So I hope y'all have a good weekend. Thank you.